Beloved child, there are doors in your life that do not open through strength, nor do they open by trying once more to explain your pain. There are doors that only open when you lay down what you have held on to for far too long. I know that when you hear the word forgiveness, your heart may sink, because you fear that forgiving means denying your tears, making light of what shattered you, or forcing yourself to smile at the very things that once wounded you. But my child, I never call you into forgiveness as though I were calling you into a new prison. I call you into it as one steps into a wide garden, where the vines of bitterness no longer wrap themselves around your breath. Forgiveness does not mean forcing yourself to say that nothing happened. Forgiveness is when you look directly at the truth, acknowledge the wound, and then decide that the wound will no longer sit on the throne of your heart. What happened cannot be rewritten according to your desire, but its power over your today can be laid down beneath my light. Understand this deeply. I am not asking you to call wrong right, nor am I telling you to return to a place that has repeatedly robbed you of peace if there has not been true repentance and change there. Forgiveness is not opening the door for repeated harm. Forgiveness is unlocking the chain you unknowingly used to keep yourself imprisoned beside old memories. There are people who have left your life, yet their shadow still remains in your thoughts. There are words that ended long ago, yet their echo still causes you to doubt yourself. There are matters you thought had been buried, yet every time they are touched, your heart rises like a restless sea. I do not blame you for those reactions. I know how deeply you have been hurt. I see what others do not see. I hear the choking sobs you never put into words, and I understand the nights when you asked yourself why you still had not found peace. But today, I gently invite you to take one more step, not a step to defend the one who hurt you, but a step to release you from the control of pain. When you keep the right to judge tightly in your hands, you may think you are protecting justice, but many times you are only keeping a fire burning inside your own chest. I am the one who knows every hidden thing, and no unjust act escapes my sight. What you release does not fall into emptiness, it is placed into my hands. What you entrust to me is not dismissed, it is held by me in righteousness and mercy. You do not need to become the judge of every wound in order to prove that you have value. You do not need to repeat the sentence in your heart every day to make sure that what happened was truly wrong. I have seen, I have known, and because I know, you can stop allowing the past to use its old voice to command your future. When you open the hand that has been clenched for too long, peace does not rush in like thunder. It comes gently like a breeze after a season of heat, like the first breath after a long time of holding it in, like dew resting upon ground once dried out by anger. Remember the story of Joseph, the one who was sold by his own brothers, taken to a foreign land, misunderstood, imprisoned, and delayed through many dark seasons. If seen only through human eyes, you could say he had enough reason to nurture resentment, enough evidence to become hardened, and enough memories to never open his heart again. But when the time came, and those who had harmed him stood before him in their need, Joseph did not allow old pain to turn him into the very thing that had wounded him. He did not deny the evil that had taken place, but he saw my hand silently turning all things to preserve life. My child, forgiveness does not make the past beautiful, but it gives you the ability to look at the past without being blinded to what I am doing. Joseph did not lose wisdom. He tested, discerned, and only then opened the way for reconciliation. This teaches you that forgiveness can walk together with boundaries. Mercy can walk together with clarity. And gentleness never means weakness. From that place of forgiveness, I also want you to learn to guard your words, because your mouth is often the doorway through which what is living deep within you comes out. There are words that pass quickly, yet leave marks longer than you realize. There are sentences you speak when you are tired, thinking they are only a way to release some heaviness. Yet they plant more darkness into the very soil I am trying to heal. And there are also simple, gentle, truthful words, spoken at the right moment, that can help someone rise again, calm a room, and remind even you that you are not defined by fear. I do not demand that you become someone who always speaks perfect words, never stumbles, and never misses the rhythm. I know you are still learning, but I invite you to speak with awareness, to speak as one who knows that words carry seeds, and every seed will seek soil in which to grow. Therefore, as you adjust the desires within your heart, begin by listening to the language you use with yourself. Do you often call yourself by heavy names? Do you often say that you are not good enough, that you cannot change, that there are no opportunities left, that you are not worthy of being loved, my child? Those words are not merely sounds. They are like stones you place inside the bag you carry every day. The more you speak them, the heavier you become. The more you repeat them, the more you believe them. I want you to remove each of those stones from your life. Learn to speak truth in the light, that you are being shaped, that you can grow, that failure is not your name, that your wound is not your identity, and that I am still working within you with patience that never runs dry. When you speak truthful words, you are not deceiving yourself. You are agreeing with what I am sowing into you. Then guard the words you speak about others as well, especially those who have hurt you. I am not telling you to pretend to be sweet while your heart is still learning how to heal, but I want you to avoid turning your mouth into a house where pain settles and lives. There are things that need to be spoken in truth, in a safe place, with the purpose of healing and discernment. But there are also words that only deepen the wound, only feed bitterness and make it stronger, only tie you more tightly to the person from whom you long to be free. Let your words pass through 3 gates. Is this true? Is it necessary to say? And is it spoken in a spirit that cleanses? Or only from a desire to wound in return? When you learn that rhythm, your words will be less driven by temporary emotions and will begin to become instruments of life. Beloved child, your words also have the power to open the way for tomorrow. When you speak in hope, not because your circumstances have become easy, but because you believe I can still do what is good, the future within you will become less closed off. When you speak with gratitude, not because you have everything, but because you recognize the small graces that are still sustaining you, your eyes will grow brighter. When you speak in faith, not because you can control everything, but because you trust that the one holding you is greater than what you fear, your steps will become steadier. These words are not magic spells to force life to change according to your will. They are your cooperation with the light. They realign your vision, soften the soil of your heart, and help you step out of the habit of cursing yourself with sentences that seem harmless. So in these days when you are learning to forgive, do not rush to force yourself to feel light immediately. There is a kind of forgiveness that begins with one small decision and is then healed by me through many layers of time. Today you may only be able to say, Lord, I want to be free. Tomorrow you may be able to add, I place judgment into your hands. On another day, you may realize that you no longer tremble when you remember the old matter. And in some later season, you will be surprised that what once suffocated you no longer holds the key to your heart. That is the work of grace, quiet, steadfast, not loud, but deep. I do not abandon you in that process. I walk with you through each layer of release. Every time you choose silence instead of answering with bitterness, every time you choose blessing instead of condemnation, every time you choose to keep living without allowing the past to continue writing your story, my child, I want you to step into a freedom that does not need to be loud. That freedom does not deny memory. But memory no longer holds the reins and leads you around. That freedom does not take away your ability to discern, but it allows you to discern without hatred blinding your eyes. That freedom does not make you forget the value of justice, but it helps you trust that final justice does not rest in your trembling hands, but in mine, the hands of the one who is both righteous and merciful. And in that freedom, your words will change. You will no longer use your mouth to build a home for fear. You will no longer use your words to water doubt. You will begin to sow new seeds, gentle words, truthful words, uplifting words, prayers, and words of hope. Not one of those seeds will fall in vain. They will first grow within you, then spread around you like the fragrance of a garden tended by me. So place your hand upon the things you still hold tightly, and let me help you open each finger. Bring to me the words that once wounded you, and the words you have used to wound yourself even more. Let me cleanse the spring within you, so that what flows from your mouth is no longer the echo of the wound, but the sound of healing. You do not need to strain to become a forgiving person in a single day. You only need to be willing to walk with me honestly, tenderly, and courageously. I will teach you to release without losing wisdom, to speak without wounding, to be silent without nurturing resentment, to remember without being chained, and to love while still standing in truth. Then peace will no longer be something you only hear about. It will become the place where you dwell. Your deep breath after weary months, the gentle mark proving that I have made you free. Beloved child, in the deepest hours, when your home seems to hold only the soft breathing of the night and the footsteps of the day have paused behind the door, know that I am still there. I do not stand outside your home like a distant guest, nor do I watch you from a cold heaven beyond the reach of your sorrow. I draw near with a tenderness that ordinary eyes do not easily see, with a quiet warmth that rests upon every small corner where you live, where you laugh, where you grow tired, where you once silently swallowed sorrows that had no name. I move through the rooms not with noise, but with grace. I touch the dining table where conversation was once absent, the chair where someone once sat with a heavy heart, the door that once closed after misunderstandings. No place in your home is too small for me to care about. No memory too old for me to heal. No worry too minor for me to support. When I choose to dwell in the midst of your family, I do not bring only a passing feeling of comfort. I bring the order of heaven into what seems most ordinary, so that every breath, every word, and every glance may gradually be bathed in my peace. There are days when you think your home has become so accustomed to tension that peace feels like a luxury. You see careless words wound one another. Silent distances grow, and disappointments pile up like dust upon a window. But my child, I am not afraid of places that have cracked. I do not avoid homes that have known tears. I do not turn away from hearts that are still clumsy in love. In the very place you think has become dry, I can cause a clear stream to begin flowing. In the very place you think has been dark for too long, I can set a small but lasting lamp. In the very place you think only sighs remain, I can sow a gentle word so that everyone may learn again how to listen to one another. Do not measure my ability by the current condition of your home. I do not need everything to be perfect before I enter. I enter so that what is not yet in order may be set right again, so that unspoken words may be led into truth, and so that hearts that have grown distant may be invited back through humble and patient love. Therefore, do not only ask me to change the outward circumstances while forgetting to open the door for me at the center. When I am in the midst, not every noise disappears immediately, but your heart begins to hear another rhythm. You will learn to speak more slowly when anger wants to speak for you, You will learn to look more deeply when hurt wants to make you judge too quickly. You will learn to pray quietly before reacting, to hold truth without turning it into a blade, and to protect peace without building walls of pride. I want you to understand that peace in a family is not merely the absence of arguments. True peace is when my love is allowed to rule the way you listen, the way you forgive, the way you choose your words, the way you return after a difficult day and still choose gentleness. A home where I dwell is not a home that never faces trials, but a place where trials no longer have the right to control the atmosphere. Fear is not allowed to sit in the highest place. Pride is not allowed to command every sentence. Sorrow is not allowed to place the final seal upon your future. I am the one who sets all things back into their rightful place. Remember the story of the family in Bethany, where Martha, Mary, and Lazarus once opened their door to welcome Jesus. That house was not always filled only with joy. There was also confusion. There were tears. Death came near, and there were silent questions about delay and pain. Martha was once busy with many things. Mary once sat and listened in love. And Lazarus once lay in the tomb when all hope seemed to have closed. But in that very place, holy presence turned an ordinary home into a place that witnessed the power of restoration. I remind you of Bethany, not merely so you may admire an ancient story, but so you may understand that when I am welcomed into the center, a home that once held anxiety can become a place that learns rest. A home that once held weeping can become a place that sees life rise again. And a home that once held delay can become a place that realizes, I am never late according to my purpose. You also have a Bethany in your life. It is your home, the people you love, and the private spaces you think no one understands. Invite me there, not only during holidays or sacred occasions, but in every meal, every conversation, every night of sleep, and every small decision. From that presence, joy will no longer be something fragile that depends on whether everyone does exactly what you want. The joy I give is deeper than temporary laughter. It is like a hidden stream beneath the earth, quietly nourishing the roots of a tree even while the surface of the ground remains cracked. Perhaps there are still things in your home that need time to heal, people who need to learn how to soften their hearts, and memories that need to be touched by me layer by layer. But when you allow me to work, new joy will begin to appear in very small things, an apology that comes at the right time, a gaze that grows less hardened, a meal that feels less heavy, an evening when people sit a little closer together, the sense of safety returning after many days of absence. Do not despise those small signs. Beloved child, I often rebuild great things with the small stones of daily faithfulness. A home is not healed only by radiant moments, but by many times when you choose to love a little more, forgive a little more, be silent at the right time a little more, and trust me a little more. Likewise, wherever despair once planted its lament, I will not allow it to rule forever. I know there are times when you look at your family, at your close relationships, at the things that have not yet become what you prayed for, and quietly ask within your heart whether everything can still change. I hear that question. I see the times you have tried to be strong so others would not realize how tired you have become. I know the nights when you longed for a sign that tomorrow would be brighter. And today I say to you, hope does not die simply because you have waited long. Hope does not go out simply because the present still carries many scratches. Hope does not grow weak simply because you have not yet seen my hand complete the work. When I kindle the light, no darkness can command the dawn to stop. My light can enter the deepest layers of disappointment, not to deny your pain, but to show you that pain is not the place where everything ends. You will dare to believe again. not through shallow optimism, but through a hope placed in the one who does not change. And where doubt once had a seat within your heart, I will cause faith to grow like a young sprout pressing through heavy soil. That sprout does not need noise in order to live. It only needs to be watered each day by trust. You can begin with very simple things. Bless your home instead of cursing it with pessimistic words. Ask for tenderness instead of nurturing resentment. Choose a gentle word instead of a sentence meant to win. Keep a holy pause instead of replying from the place of injury. Each of those choices is a way you cooperate with me. I do not only want you to hope that your family will be renewed, I want you to become a doorway through which that renewal enters. When you carry peace, your home will learn the scent of peace. When you carry mercy, those near you will gradually be touched by mercy. When you allow me to reshape the way you love, that love will no longer be an unstable emotion, but a warm flame, bright enough to guide the way and gentle enough not to burn anyone. My child, I am in your home in ways deeper than you imagine. I am in the unspoken prayer of the mother. I am in the quiet sacrifice of the father. I am in the tears of the child who needs to be understood. I am in the trembling hand that wants to make peace, but does not know where to begin. I am in the empty room where someone sits alone and wonders whether they are still loved. No one beneath your roof is outside my compassionate gaze. Therefore, let me spread love over the places that were once divided, so that the cracks will no longer be proof of brokenness, but places where light can enter. Let me teach you all to call one another with a new gentleness, to look at one another with less severe eyes, and to move toward one another in small but sincere steps. I do not promise that everything will be repaired in a single moment according to your desire, but I promise that wherever I am welcomed, that place no longer has to live under the rule of despair. So tonight, when you look upon your home, do not look only at what is still lacking. Look with faith at what I am silently rebuilding. Place your hand upon your worries and surrender them to me. Call peace into every room. Believe that my love can touch the person you cannot persuade. Heal what you cannot heal on your own, and reconnect what you thought had gone too far away. I am breathing new life upon your family, not with a sound that startles you, but with a presence that is steady, gentle, and full of power. Keep opening the door to me. Beloved child, keep the lamp of trust burning. Keep allowing my love to become the center. Then you will see that your home is not merely a shelter for passing days, but a garden tended by me, where peace grows, joy bears fruit, hope blossoms, and everyone learns again how to belong to one another within the vast embrace of my arms. Beloved child, there are times when I am silent, but that silence never means I have left you. There are spaces in your life where no answer seems to echo, no clear sign seems to appear, and no movement seems great enough for your eyes to recognize. You look around and think everything is standing still. You look at your prayers and wonder why you have not yet seen a response. You look at the road before you and feel confused because it is still covered in mist, as though heaven has closed its doors. But my child, hear me gently say to you, not everything that has not appeared is something that is not happening. Some of my holiest works are carried out in hidden places where you cannot interfere, cannot rush, and cannot measure them by your impatience. I am not absent in the silence. I am there, deeper than noise, closer than breath, quietly holding the parts of your life that even you do not yet know how to surrender. You often fear silence because you have grown accustomed to thinking that love must always have sound, guidance must always have signs, and answers must come in a way you can immediately recognize. But in my ways, silence is sometimes the cradle I use to grow your trust. I do not always speak loudly. because I do not want you to depend only on outward sound. I want you to learn a deeper steadiness, where you can still believe even when you have not heard, still wait even when you have not seen, still walk even when you do not yet understand the whole map. When all outward sounds grow quiet, you begin to recognize the subtle movements of grace, a peace you cannot explain, a strength to endure that you thought you did not have, a thought that lights up at the right moment, a person sent at the right time, a door not yet opened, though the key has already been prepared in my hand. Silence is not an empty void. Many times, it is the hidden room where I am weaving the answer with threads you have not yet seen. Therefore, do not quickly conclude that you have been forgotten simply because this season is not loud. A seed lying in the soil is silent, but it is not dead. A child growing in the mother's womb is formed in a hidden place. Yet life is quietly moving every day. David, before it appears, passes through a very deep darkness. But that darkness has no power to stop the sun from rising at its appointed hour. My child, there are things I am preparing that need covering, because if they appeared too early, they would be harmed by hurried eyes, by hands not yet ready, and by a heart still too impatient to preserve them. I do not delay in order to hurt you. I protect so that what is good may come to you in a more complete form. What you call delay, in my hands, may be precision. What you call silence, in my heart, may be protection. What you call nothing yet, in my plan, may already be a work being built, stone by stone. Remember Elijah when he fled in weariness and confusion. He once expected me to reveal my power in a mighty way, like a great wind, like an earthquake, like blazing fire, yet I came to him in a gentle whisper, so soft that only one who quieted his soul could recognize it. That story is not placed before you, so you may seek strange manifestations. But so you may understand that I am not limited to things that shake the world. Sometimes I heal you not with thunder that makes heaven and earth tremble, but with a small comfort that slips into your heart when you think you have no strength left. Sometimes I open the way not through a radiant scene before your eyes, but by changing a heart far from you, arranging a meeting you do not yet know about, or removing an obstacle you have never seen. Elijah thought he was alone, but I had preserved things he did not know. You are the same. There is support that exists beyond your sight. Do not let what you do not know become evidence against my faithfulness. There will come days when you look back and understand that this silence was not useless. You will see that there were doors which, had they opened sooner, would have led you into a place where you were not yet steady enough to walk. There were relationships which, had they been restored too quickly, would have pulled you back into an old cycle. There were blessings which, had they arrived while you were still filled with fear, would have caused you to cling more tightly to the gift than to trust the giver. I saw those things before you did, so I moved more slowly than you desired. Yet I was never late in love. I know there were times when you sighed in the night, asking whether your prayer had reached me. Beloved child, not one of your sighs falls into empty space. Not one of your tears is overlooked. Not one day of waiting is considered unnecessary. I gather all of it into my work, and I use even the days you thought were empty to fill foundations you could not see. Therefore, in the season when there is not yet a clear answer, take care of your heart so that it does not become hardened. Do not let silence make you doubt your worth. Do not let unopened doors make you think I no longer love you. Do not let waiting turn you bitter toward yourself or toward others. Learn to sit still in my presence without needing me to explain everything immediately. There is a kind of maturity born when you no longer demand to know everything before you are willing to trust. There is a kind of peace formed when you no longer use the speed of your circumstances to measure my kindness. There is a very gentle strength that begins to grow within you when you say, "Even though I do not yet see, I still know you have not abandoned me." In that quiet confession, your faith stops being a temporary emotion and becomes a deep root reaching into a lasting stream. You also need to understand that I am not only preparing what lies ahead, I am also preparing you. Many times you pray for a path, but I first make your feet stronger. You pray for an answer, but I first make your heart wide enough to receive it. You pray for outward change, but I first rebuild the order within, so that when the new thing comes, you will not enter it with haste, fear, or lack of discernment. So do not see this quiet season as punishment or as a sign of failure. This may be the place where I am purifying motives, calming your hurry, and teaching you to distinguish between what you want immediately and what you truly need. I do not remove the noise to make you lonely. I lower the noise so you can hear what matters more. So, my child, when you do not yet see anything changing, keep your heart tender. When you do not yet hear the answer, keep your prayer pure. When you do not yet know the next step, still live kindly in today. Do not despise the small things in the season of silence, a morning when you still rise, a decision to choose peace instead of panic, a time when you do not return to an old habit, a moment when you believe even while your eyes are still wet. Those small things are the stones I use to build a great road. Then, at the right time, the light will come not only to bring you joy, but to prove that I had been working for a long time already. You will realize that I was never slow. I was simply doing all things in the right rhythm, in the right way, and at the right depth, so that the blessing would not only touch your life for a moment, but remain, sustain you, and make you more steadfast in my love.